So we are live, finally.
Hey, we made
Hello,
it.
everyone. We made really sorry about we're 7 minutes late. We had some technical issues. We never had that problem, but it's technology.
Every day's a school day.
Uh, so welcome to See No Evil Drinks. Today we're gonna have Clean from Clim Studios. This is, I think, if I'm not wrong, it's our 53 show already. It's 28th of
Really?
November. It's
Oh,
almost
wow.
Christmas, yeah. I think it's been
Sweet.
just over 3 years now. So
3 years.
welcome everyone. Welcome Clean. Before we introduce Clean properly, we're gonna do as we always do. We're gonna play quickly. Clean just had a new rebrand and it has a really amazing video. So let me just share with everyone here quickly, and we get down to business. Uh, Circle. So you guys should be able to see.
Very nice.
Nice, very nice, man.
Thank
So,
you.
Wayne, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself and who
Wow.
is Clean and who is Clean Studio. You're gonna be better
Well,
than us.
yeah, thank you for having me. I am Climen Canal is my name, but everyone knows me as Clim since the university. And I am creative director and founder at Clim Studio. Clim Studio, we do design, animation, in all sorts. I would say we are mostly focused on CG, but we also do motion graphics, 2D, cell, a little bit of character animation, a little bit of mixed media, live action. And yeah, we just launched a new rebrand and a new website. You can check it out at studioclone.com. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
That's
Ooh,
nice. Thanks so much, Clean. Thanks for being on the
thank you.
show. So I wanna, I wanna bring for who doesn't know, Clean being in the live show. We've been talking like about 2011 or even
Yeah,
earlier.
2011. Yeah, I would say that everything started in 2011.
Yeah,
People, as Clim Studio per se, it's about like 4 or 5 years, I would say. But in the industry and, putting out work that stills on our website is from 2011, I would say. It's been a
and
while.
tell me, how why did you decide to have a studio? This is a question I always have in my own studio. I'm always curious to know the story behind each one. Did you always plan? Because normally us more like creative, we never really have. Oh, here's the business plan. Here's what I'm gonna do in 5 years, 3 years. I'm gonna start my studio, gonna make that much money and that kind of thing. And we just go a lot of people with the flow and say, "Fuck, how I gonna run the studio now?"
Well,
I
it
think
happens.
there's a part of that as well. Like running a studio, is it how you imagined it would be like?
Yeah.
Well, probably not. I would say that it has been, a long journey, and it just happened naturally, I would say. But from early stages, I was 21 years old and I was already, freelancing. At 22, I had like a small graphic design studio called Fecunda. Then I set up Sebas and Clim, that it was another director duo, and a bit after, kind of like a small studio. Then solo director. Then, solo director I became a little bit of an orchestra man, being, director and producing and putting teams together. since I decided like, look, I think that if I want to do different things, I kind of like need a house instead of calling myself Clim, director. I was like, no, if I want to do mixed media, I want to try this and that. Let's call it a studio. So like this, I am not, oh, the director that does this or that this, style or something. So yeah, it happened just naturally. Not exponentially, but like growing little by little, and then changing names from Sebas and Clim to Clim and then Clim Studio. It was kind of like
Yeah.
a shift.
It's
That's
interesting
cool.
that the branding has gone more minimal, like Sebastian Clim to Clim, and now your branding now is just a C.
Yeah, exactly. At the end, it's
What's
gonna be
next? Half a
nothing.
C?
A dot studio. Yeah, probably exists. Yeah, and I would say that running the studio, I mean, we are a small studio still. And running it, it's a learning curve, I would say. It's just, something that at the beginning you don't really know, but leading or directing teams, small or big teams, is kind of a good learning that you do, and then you kind of like hire the first person, and then the second, and then the third, and then things are getting to put them into place, I would say, and I quite enjoy it. I mean, it's
Imagine
difficult, obviously, but I quite
imagine like
enjoy it.
hiring the first person is such a like big decision and obviously monumental. After that, it's like, yeah, sure, fine. But I imagine like that first person because you got all that response extra it feels like extra responsibility and all that kind of side of
Totally.
things, you know.
Totally. It's scaring. It's very, very scaring. But then you realize, like, well, it's not that hard. It's fine. And then a second one, and then a third one,
Mm.
it's okay. Nothing happens, nothing breaks. The house is still there. So yeah. But yeah, it's a
So
thing.
so obviously you guys are based over in Barcelona, but you like you're saying you're a remote studio, so everyone's everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But when you first started out, you were like freelancing in London, and you set up a like small studio in London. Was
Mhm.
moving to Barcelona always the plan? And how is it different compared to like the creative scene in London? Like how do they compare?
They are very different cities. The plan wasn't to move to Barcelona. We started Sebas and Clim in London, and the plan was staying there. But then my husband got, a job in Barcelona. He's French, so we decided to go there. For me, it was kind of like going back home. Was
Mm.
cool. London weather was hitting too hard. I was like,
True
no.
that.
And then I continued with Sebas and Clim in there. We were actually remoting. Sebas was still in London, me in Barcelona. Then he came to Barcelona again. And then, I happened to stay in Barcelona. And then, things just being here, it's cool. So we stayed. But I would say that the two cities are very, very different. Barcelona is a very, very small city. It's like 2
Mm.
million people. And, the community is very small. And always that I'm going back to London, you realize that London is constantly changing and
Too
evolving,
busy.
and there is
Too
so
busy down
much
there.
going on. Barcelona is not like that. It's more laid back. It's,
Mm.
calmer.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
quite like that. I mean, that's what I kind of gather, just more chilled out and kind of, I guess in a way, like indirectly, it lets you kind of concentrate a bit more on creativity because you're not like, oh, need to do this, and then rush home before, the buses all get full and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a little bit, yes, it is a little bit like this, but you get very busy at the studio, and then the tube is also packed.
Yeah.
Probably not only people that is working, but mostly also tourists, which is another thing. But yeah.
Yeah. And Clint, asking you, let me, I'm not, my memory is being really bad lately, but um, if I remember well, your background comes like you're always been really strong on the design side. Yeah. And, but did you do, if you look at Clean Studio nowadays, you guys write like really like neat, clean 3D, with nice animation. So I can see, like from the Clean I met in the beginning, you can see the evolution you're going. But did you always want to go like fully? Because nowadays I think you guys pretty much fully 3D, you know?
Well, we try not to, but yeah, I mean, it's happening. Um, yeah,
So
I
it's
studied
not something
graphic
you plan.
design. Yeah, well, no, it wasn't a plan at all. But you know, I studied graphic design, then studied motion graphics, master degree, but I have never been an animator myself. And yeah, I started doing more like motion graphics, 2D work. Then it shaped a little bit to mixed media. I tried to become like a live action director, but I did just like two or three things. It's hard to, you know, to be in there. And then, yeah, I did collaboration with Joao Lucas, and that was my first project in CG. And then kind of like shifted everything. And nowadays it's almost, I would say CG, and then with hints of 2D here and there, you know, a UI animation in here, or titles or typography or things that we incorporate. But I'm trying to not only, you know, produce CG work. Even though I like it, you know, I am not the one doing the work.
Yeah.
But I can move things in Cinema 4D a little bit, you know, move things around and change colors, but not much. And I think I feel a little bit of nostalgia of the 2D world. That's why the rebrand film, we kind of like infuse it with 2D touches here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still wanted to get back to design a little bit and, you know, do
And
few things.
talking about get back to design, and you said you don't really put the hands on the cinema, you know, the 3D. Running a studio, you know, do you really have time, you know, because this is I think a lot of us, when we start a studio, the main reason is, oh, I'm gonna direct my own projects, I'm gonna, you know, do what I like, and then we realize it's not reality. You know,
Oh,
we
I'm gonna
we
do
need to pay
paperwork.
the bills. Yeah, we need to pay the bills, and then we get the
Mhm.
project. If we do the project, we don't do anything else. You know, the studio gets stuck on them, doesn't go anywhere,
Mhm.
and we realize, wow, you know, I don't have the same time to put the hands on the project, and I even remember like my producer used to come to me because I always want to do one cool shot or something like that. And it's got one point she said to me, you know, no, you're not doing, because you're gonna be pulling a meeting here and then we're gonna screw up the whole project because I need to get someone to do it. So how, you know, do you still fight to yourself? Do you still put in the hands on, or is still that fight you're trying to get involved on the projects and you realize that's really hard?
I mean, I try it. I really try it. For example, yesterday I stayed longer at work because I just started to touch one file and I got like, you know, excited. It was a while. I was like, oh, good. I called my husband saying like, I'm gonna be late. I'm so excited. So okay, okay. But I try to, you know, obviously the concept part, you know, finding ideas and
Yeah.
approaches and all this is, you know, me being there and involved and making the work. But then when we jump into design, it's more of, you know, notes everywhere
Yeah.
and little drawings here and no, not
But
this,
that's
that, you
directing the
know.
end of the day, you know?
Mm.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then yeah, if the freelancers that I collaborate with on that project are happen to be at the studio, then yeah, it's easy for me to just go there. And with the ones that, you know, I collaborate usually, it's good to me being like, can I please? And grabbing, you know, and doing little things and
So like
change
the
that
hovering
and
art
change this.
director and then just gently putting your hand over the mouse.
Yeah,
Like, get
sometimes.
off.
Sometimes I'm that man. Um, but you know, the ones that I have, you know, like a closer relationship, I do that. So
Mm.
with the others, probably not. But I try to as much as I can. If it's not, you know, if it's a pro, for example, Roger Gallet, one project that we did, it happened to like the design process was kind of tricky. The client didn't really like the first approach. And then you know, after the feedback, I was like, okay, boom, boom, boom. having the time, and me and Everton, that is a very good designer, we were close, very very close and working together, and I really enjoy doing this. But it's true, it's very difficult to do it when you have, I don't know how many meetings, and plus one-to-ones with the team, and weekly meets, and prep the, I don't know, the social media strategy and things like that, that they are not, project related. It's hard, but I
So
try
if
to.
so when you're like, for example, like pitching for projects and putting together like style frames, so how do you come up? I mean, do you come up with a concept and then do you pass it off to your the designers there, and obviously you kind of meet back later to kind of collaborate kind of thing. So is that how it's working?
Yeah, I would say so. The majority of times, I think that it's just like find the right idea or concept and do
Yeah.
like shitty sketches and by hand, and then pulling up some references on the side, and it's like this, that, this, that,
Do you,
and then they do the work.
like obviously coming from like a design background, freelance background, and be more kind of like hands-on, did you find that transition sometimes a little bit trickier to deal with, to be more I guess it's obviously you trust your designers, but at the start I imagine it's kind of a little bit difficult just to go, okay.
Well, it's because I'm a graphic designer that does not do CG. I cannot model. I cannot work on shaders and materials and things like that. I didn't even want to learn that part of the software. I just want, when things are built and ready to play with, then it's like for me to like compose things or to arrange things as I like. But at some point it got very hard because I was like, oh my God, I'm running almost like a CG studio and I don't have a clue about CG.
Yeah.
Like, like
Don't
what
tell
the
them.
hell? Yeah, exactly. But with the background of design and composition and colors, Thiago, you say it, that what we do is very, I wouldn't say minimalistic because it depends, but it's clean, it's sharp, it's like
Mm.
art directed, right?
Yeah.
So that could be CG, could be live action, could be a collage made in mixed media. I don't care. I would try always to have, the vision for it. And I think that that's the important part. Once we have the vision and what it needs to become, then the direction is clear, then it's the decisions are kind of like happening on its own. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's true. It's true. I think I think in the end of the day is kind, no matter what you direct, if you come with the art direction point of view, it can be live action, can be 3D CG, is always the same result in the end.
Totally.
And I think it helps quite a lot because you do have the vision where you want to get, so it makes it a lot easier to direct the team as well.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
this
what gives the
happened
consistency.
actually. Yeah, exactly. Like to tie it all together. But I think this happened in a way that I was, I said that I did like three projects in, with live action and kind of with props, all painted in one color, and it was almost CG like, but in a real world. And I started to do this. And it was, even though there are just like three projects done in live action, they are kind of like big productions. So I
Hmm.
got to, design a set and design, yeah, set design and things like that. So that kind of like started for me to give me a little bit of, spatial kind of thinking. And that I guess that it was helpful once I, started to do CG, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah. I
Yeah.
can I can see a lot similarity. Even if you're looking, the live action projects and the CG, the art direction is so related to one to the other. You can see it's kind of the same
You can
studio.
see the graphicness, the graphic design
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really nice.
have you guys seen a film called The Fall?
The
The fall.
full.
Yeah, it came, I don't know, it came about 10 years ago. So it's like a really amazing, like a live action film, but everything just looks very art directed and very designed, even though it's live action. And I think there's a similar element to that. I mean, all right, The Fall is quite a fantasy film, so maybe not that side. But I think the point's still the same. It looks very, it's got a like a graphic design element to it that that's consistent. You can see through it.
Totally. Yeah. I we have a project, that we did for Amazon US, and it's how, CG, how a little bit of live action in there. And I wanted just to bring the two worlds together, but in a very poppy way. And everything is, yeah, just like one color products, or the stage is also just one color and blue. And I always try to apply the graphic designer that I have in, the inner graphic designer
The inner
to
designer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
A quick question for you. In the beginning, you said that everyone works remote. This is something I always interest. We just moved the studio remote in the end of
Mhm.
it's been like just a little bit less than a year. Of course, we had the pandemic to not teach us but force us to learn how to work remotely, so we didn't have option to everyone to
Mhm.
work remote. But how do you feel, because for me as a creative, uh, I feel we kind of get used to nowadays, but I'm like proper old school. I like to have everyone in the studio, spend 2 minutes chatting about something here and there, point something on the screen. Nowadays it's like jumping a call. And there you brief someone, takes like 5 hours, and the person understand the brief complete wrong what you said. Even with the person in the studio, that used to happen, but at least you there
Yeah.
to feedback quickly. How do you feel that? How I would be really interested to know the pros and cons you're feeling on that.
I think, well, first, I have a like strange, I would say, setup, because the core team is all remote, but then I have a office space, a studio in Barcelona that I started a long time ago to kind of like rent spaces to freelancers that they are in the industry. So
Mm-hmm.
they became kind of like the usual collaborators. So the freelancers, some of the freelancers, not all of them, obviously, but the usual ones are in the studio, and then the
Mhm.
core team is, remote, which is, I have a little bit of both things.
Yeah.
But with the core team and the rest of the freelancers that we collaborate with remotely, I find that there is absolutely no problem. You can do absolutely everything remote as long as you have the right tools to work with.
Yeah.
And, like daily catch-ups, like starting with a call, I think it's very important. Starting with the core team every week with a weekly meet, I think it's very important. Having one-to-ones as you would do, in a normal, like a serious company, that's also like, important. And then making sure that everyone understands everything without being there all the time, checking, but having, hey, everything okay? Yeah, yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Can I see something maybe in about 1 hour?
I guess
Yeah,
I guess that
cool.
in some way that's
Yeah.
a very a slight benefit. Like I'm not saying this is applicable to you, but I know that some people kind of like overly micromanage, and being remote kind of puts that a bit to a minimum because you don't have to reply to that email straight away. You can turn your phone off.
This
Totally.
is yeah, this
Yeah.
is a tricky
It
one.
is a
Yeah.
way to, like prioritize what is important and what needs to happen
Yeah,
when. And with the team, I think everyone is very, like, I don't know, used to it now. And it is true that maybe it lacks a little bit this human touch
it's
sometimes.
true.
But for example, today we were talking about a project, but then you kind of like force the chit chat, oh, and you are going to, I don't know where this weekend, and what you gonna do, you force that to happen a little bit. But once it happens, and maybe you are talking with the team like for 20 minutes. It's like, hey, guys, let's go back to work. Okay, cool, bye, bye, boom. So yeah, I think the human touch, it needs to be, forced a little bit, but it can happen. And we use a lot of good morning, and I am also like the sun. I don't know, this is a silly thing, but the sunflower is my icon, and then another one uses always the sun, and but we always say good morning. How is your day?
But
Yes, great.
this is something I really felt as well when we try introducing the studio really have. We even create like kind of a how to work remote with us, you know, because I feel like the biggest project when we run, you know, just using GIF as well, you know, good morning, everyone goes and put one GIF. People feels more like charismatic and more like warm,
I
you know,
communicate
instead.
in GIFs and only GIFs.
I think yeah, it's always help, you know, like you say,
There
the
is
good
always that
morning, you
one
know,
somewhere.
is I think the GIF always helps quite a lot, you know. I think it brings a little bit,
Totally.
you know, like you're saying good morning, but like the basic rules, because let's be honest, you know, we're talking here the ideal scenario, you know, but there's a lot of people out there shit, like they don't even say hello and you don't know what they're
Mhm.
doing. And we're talking about the best scenario here, people, you know, you're saying you're not having problems, anything. But
Mhm.
we always have that freelancer, that person that we fuck, where is him? You know, you don't know what is going on. So I think it is good, you know, ask you if you could give like three tips, you know, for people then wanna work with the studio, you know, how to behave, you know, like on the remote. I think that could be quite nice as well, you know, like just get a couple tips from you. The
Yeah.
good morning, I think, is a great one, you know.
Yeah. Good
Good
morning.
night.
Once. Yeah. Good night or bye. See you
Oh, fuck you
tomorrow.
guys, I'm going to the pub.
Yeah.
Don't text me.
I think it's not overreacting to things because I don't think that's the way to do it, but it's just being there, with this just a little emoji, a little thing, or thank you very much, or being like well educated and
Mm.
this I think goes a long way
Yeah,
everywhere. Um, this
true.
is common sense. But then, for example, I had one collaborator that he didn't have any profile picture. I was like, hey, would you mind putting a profile picture on Slack, please? I know it's a silly thing, but it adds like there is a person in there.
Mm.
It's not a bot,
Definitely.
that it's talking to you. And I would say like being always up for a call. There's people that is like, oh no, like no, I would prefer not to put the camera, or they are not, oh, I don't have a camera, maybe tomorrow, things like that. It's like, no, no,
Yeah,
no. I
yeah,
think it's essential to be
I
able,
agree.
like, because if you would be in the same space, I would just like go to your desk and talk to you.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
it should
And they'd
be
be
the
like, yo, send me a
same.
text message.
Exactly, so it's not, I don't think it's okay. So that's why it's like, hey, can we jump on a call? Yes, give me 1 minute. Cool. Okay, great. Boom. And we jump on a call.
Yeah,
And I think that's very good.
One thing,
yeah,
one thing I quite like we've been working quite a lot with like American studios, so obviously there's a time difference. And one thing, this lady I've been working with, one thing I really like is she sends like a little good morning brief of things to work through and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as I wake up, I'm on Slack and there's a little video saying hello, and I quite like that. It just feels a bit more
that's cool.
personal. All right,
Yeah,
it feels a bit James Bond in a way.
Totally.
is a personal message to you, a personal message for the team?
Oh, it's just to me.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, it is work related. It's not weird related.
Yeah.
It's just
Look at me
it's a nice
Well,
thing.
naked.
which kind of gifts do you send? I don't know.
But
Yeah.
I think it's like what Clim was saying. It's having that nice personal touch. We're not just there to collect a day rate or whatever. It's having that little bit of personality and a connection and a bond. And I think that's very important.
But
Totally.
this is
And
something I've been talking quite a lot. You just say collect the rate, you know. I think that just goes. I'm gonna put together with Guy. George just asked a question. He say, I feel it's really difficult nowadays to start a career as a motion designer. How to get people to trust you and give you opportunity when you don't have experience with clients. I think this is going back to what we're talking now, because I think trust is, I think, is the right word. And what James, I think it's such a strong word you use, James. Say they rate collectors, you know, because I
Yeah.
feel a lot of people nowadays feels like tend to be, I think we come from a creatives background where we want to do cool work. Of course, involves money. Everyone needs to get paid. But there is people that just go that ching ching, what I need to do, doesn't do any extra thing, doesn't even, like you're saying, doesn't say good morning, just that, oh, what you want me to do? Done, give, leave. I think how, like, there's no trust on that. That person doesn't add anything to the project. And some jobs are hard, and we want to have a little bit fun. At least it's a creative job. Some jobs shit, fine. Everyone's pissed off with the
It's not
job,
the
but
VFX
normally,
industry.
no, it's not. So I think I don't think it's difficult to get nowadays on the career. I think that there is a lot of people, but there is a lot of bad people that doesn't have the basic skills. And I think for me, the remote situation, everyone does a little online course of After Effects, and they think they are motion design, or and of course they don't understand design and they don't understand animation. They just learn After Effects. So we need to be clear on that. And the second is, people don't really want to commit to like just go there and be a human person and say good morning and just be friendly. I don't know how you feel about this.
So
Well, I would
studios,
say that if I bump into a person, behaving like this, I will not work again with that
Yeah.
person. That's it's as easy as it gets, right? Usually with the freelancers that I have never collaborated with, um, I tend to like have a call first to get to know each other and to make sure that we can be cool.
I think
you cool?
connect,
Yeah, I'm
I
cool.
think you
You
need to
cool? Yeah, I'm
connect.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's important. The human relationship, it's what it's all about at the end, because this person needs to take feedback and criticism and needs to be part of a team, needs to communicate with the rest, needs to share the work, needs to be, it's a whole thing that we are building. And to be part of this whole, I think that you have to have soft skills. They are very, very important. And being or not, student or having, I think having difficulties to enter in this industry, it's all about practice and getting experience and, you know, working with clients. And I with our productions and the type of projects that we do, we cannot afford ourselves to teach
Yeah.
at that moment. Obviously you can learn from your peers and the people on the team, and you can ask things if you don't want, if you don't know how to do anything, or if it's not quite your expertise, just let us know that we can find out another person that can do that. Like, everything is doable. But I think that that's why I'm probably not hiring or collaborating with juniors that much. I prefer, mid-weights and seniors and leads. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I
But
think if
It's the
if
time as well, I think to have a junior is, or to have an intern, you need to put the time to that people,
totally.
and and it's difficult when the size of a small studio, or even with projects, then we're not talking like about hundreds of thousands of projects that you can have, and I think people sometimes don't realize that, and
if you're starting out, it'd be good. I mean, you kind of have to find a studio and work on site for a couple of years before doing
yeah.
anything remotely at
Totally.
all.
But
But at the end of,
that's, I think, is a big problem, because
yeah,
people, like I said, they do these courses nowadays and they jump in freelance life with which experience? You don't have a single experience. You learn After Effects. You didn't learn
that
design.
just
You
shows
didn't learn
naivety,
animation. Yeah,
and that's
it
not
is, but
a
it's so
general
common
thing,
now.
you know.
It is,
But yeah,
it's a massive common problem nowadays. People just call themselves motion design because they did After Effects course.
I mean, it's also
yeah,
about production and about teams and about
Team,
how to,
yeah,
how to be in a big production and dealing with numbers and numbers of different versions and files, and
Files and understand your time
it's
as well,
complex.
how long it
I
takes
But
think
to
it
do
has a
that
knock-on
things.
doesn't,
effect.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't people to understand that, that studios, we don't give, opportunities to young people. It's not that, but as you mentioned, I think that incorporating to the team, adding to the team like a junior that you can dedicate time, and it's okay, is learning, give him or her like, type of task that this person can, do. That's totally fine, and probably, will do that in the future, but not in productions that they are like gigs that is like 2 months
Long
go,
time.
full
Yeah.
production thing. It like if you would have one intern or something like that that can help, that's great, but not as a freelance. I think that it's just like, well, before I went to freelance, I did what you James said, right? Like I was in a
I think
I
studio
it's
and
think he
important
needs to
here.
work
you
for a
know,
studio at least a year. I think
I
he need,
think so.
and it's not
2 years,
just
man. 2 years is the gold standard,
yeah, I
I
agree
would say.
with you, and it's like I think Clean you said, it's doesn't involve just move pixels or a director project. It involves a human relationship, involves production, involves understanding how long it take to do things, a file structure, working hierarchy in a company, all these
The,
kind of things you don't learn doing freelance. To be
the
honest, you
biggest
never
thing
have
is that
Totally.
you've got, if you're on site for a couple of years and you've got people there to ask questions before you potentially make a mistake. Because you can't, if you go straight to freelance, you can burn bridges, and it's really difficult to come back from a burnt
Yeah,
bridge.
it is. It is.
So
Totally.
it's best to be a junior for a couple of years on someone else's dime and learn and absorb what's going around you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember once I was so young, maybe like, I don't know, 19 years old or something. And I
Mm.
got like a possibility of going to work to Madrid and being in charge of, I don't know, it was like a magazine or something like that. I don't remember. And my dad at that time, he asked me like, who are you gonna work with? I was like, no, I will be on my own dealing with the whole thing. And he told me like, no, you have to be around people that know more than you, that you
To
can,
learn.
ask all the time and learn. If not, what's the point? Like, no, 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 no.
It's
And
good
I
advice.
went to a graphic design studio that I was, they were paying me like peanuts.
But
And
it's an
Right of
investment, I
passage.
think. It's in the end of the day, I think that reflects to who you are nowadays. If you had probably the high job in the beginning and you probably would stack them, don't have anyone to learn and base it, and I don't think you'd progress as much. I think and I think I'm not saying when you're young you can suffer and make less money, but the cost of life is a lot cheaper when you're 19 than you
yeah,
older,
a lot cheaper.
yeah. So, but I think is a big thing people is missing quite a lot nowadays. Is finding a full-time job. I know full-time job doesn't pay as well as a freelance,
Mhm.
but is that crucial? Like couple years to learn how work properly before you can be like a lonely wolf and just go and brave yourself around studios. And James said, once you
Which is
close
also
bridges, it's
tiring a
hard.
little bit, maybe,
Yeah.
for a lot of people that, now, because our industry is relatively young, now is when freelancers start to become a little bit older, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people is tired about like jumping around studios, and it also happens, and finding, I think, a good studio to work at as a, in part of the team. I think it's a very nice opportunity to, to get to know your team, to get better at things, to improve the way we work, to find new ways of working, and to start building a little bit of a, studio culture. And I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful.
And to learn
When
to invest in yourself as well, no? Because the studio give you opportunity to work in personal projects and things you
Totally,
don't have as much, if you're freelance, you need to stop working to do these things.
The
totally.
other benefit, like you were saying, like the older freelancers are, maybe settling down, as it were. The other benefit is, the freelancer, through quite a lot of studios. So they bring the experience of working at other studios, and maybe there's a different way of doing things that might be more efficient, or what have you. They bring that with them, which is quite a benefit.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I absolutely love to work with, the freelancers that I have. I have built a massive database that I personally curated, and it's great. And I always enjoy, usually, I really enjoy, meeting new people and getting to know new artists. I think is very, very nice. And to have a small but efficient core team and to add freelancers at it, I think it also gives a little bit of a refreshment to the team as well.
Definitely, yeah.
It's a different eye, yeah.
So yeah, I think a nice combination of the two parts. I think it's lovely. At least I'm
Is
finding
that is
enjoyable.
that is that kind of one of the ways how you keep work like looking fresh and what have you? Is like, every now and then new freelancers or what have you, and that kind of helps mix things up a little bit
It can help
or
or
not.
it can destroy a project. You know,
Sounds like there's a story
you
there.
never know. You never know. I try to also balance the new, freelancers. So probably, I don't know, let's imagine that project that we did, that I needed like 5 or 6 freelancers, like 3 or 4 were the ones that I know already, and then 2 were like new ones. And that's also like it's giving me a little bit of peace, like, okay, if
Yeah.
this person doesn't quite work well or as I expected, it's okay. I have, the other ones that I know that they're gonna kill it. So, it's a balance, delicate balance.
So how do you find like new employees or new freelancers? Like how what's your process in that?
Um,
So good tips here, guys, if you
I mean,
want to
is
work
it
with
through
Clim,
recommendations or is it through like social media or?
I started building small teams, and I started to approach people on Instagram directly. Okay, are you freelancing? What's your daily rate? And then I started to actually approach a lot of people, and I was like, oh, I need to save this somehow, this data, right? And I
Mhm.
started to do like a spreadsheet and to put all the details and their links and da da da. When it became kind of like a massive, I think I have like 400 or 500 people in there. I decided to build a bespoke software that it has, all the freelance in there, that it's actually connected with how we do budgets and timeline. So whatever the stuff we need, let's say 3 CG generalists, it's like linked to my database, give me 3, then, I collect them, I select them, and then
Like Pokemon.
it's, yeah, it's cool because our system actually you can book them through the system. It's
Oh
cool. It's
wow.
nice. It's a
that's
little bit in a
nice.
beta kind of situation, but it's cool. But I usually do that curation, but it took me so long, and it was kind of like a kind of like a task that you do, day by day, and you collect
Yeah,
and you
takes
find that
time.
person. But then I was like, okay, with the new website that we just did, I need a place where the freelancers can enter in there directly.
Yeah,
So I'm not curating that anymore. So freelancers are coming in, but then they are in a waiting list that I revise personally and I
that's
approve
good.
them
That's
or
good way.
restart.
Yeah,
So it's like boop, doop, doop, doop,
this is
doop.
a thing I always did on the studio as well. It's always hard. I think you give that job to someone else because as the head or the director in the studio, you know what you're looking for. It's a hard job to pass to someone, and also I think
I
it's
would say it's part of the creative job. It
it. I
starts
think it
there,
is. I think it is.
right?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And Anton just did a really good question. Then I want to bring back about the studio and everything. And I think this is a brilliant question. Do you have a big goal for the studio and or for yourself? What is it? Where do you see you going? What is your is any plans, anything you want to do? Then
I would say no. I mean, there is a couple of projects for the studio that I have in mind that I would like to do. That's, to be specific. And in the, I guess, bigger picture, I would say I don't really want to grow much. I think 5 to 7 people. I think seven is a good number. So I probably would go there. But then just like quality, it's always better than quantity.
yeah,
And I I am a bit proud of this because probably the 95% of the stuff that we do is on our website. We tend to
that's
not
good.
do
That's
like,
really that's a really
you know,
rare. That's a really rare. That's
Yeah,
really
and I
good.
try this and I want to keep that. I know,
Yeah,
that when you become a little bit bigger, you have to pay bills and you have to pay,
yeah.
people's salaries. But I try to grow in a way that is kind of like sustainable and, not very fast. So keep it calm, keep it quiet, keep it, contained. Um,
But
so
that's
yeah,
that's quite a big goal as well, because the percentage you're talking here about the work is on the website. That's quite enough. I take my hats off for you, man, because it is really hard to do that. When
and if
we
we do something that we don't really like, we show it in a different way.
yeah,
We
that's good.
show it
Yeah.
cleverly, that
Director's
we can
cut.
be proud of. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but that's
Yeah,
amazing.
we
That's
spend
the
so
thing
much
is,
time on creating, like case studies and, all of this to try to show the best of the best.
and
But
a quick
yeah.
question: you spend a lot of time on doing like like showcases and things like that. Where do you find this time? Because this is, I think, a problem a lot of people has, because that costs money for a studio. Or if you're freelance, you need to take time off, so that means you're not making money. So we see, I think, behind the scenes is always more a bigger hit than the whole project. Normally people love, especially in the industry. So where do you find this time, man?
I think it's kind of like extending the project, the end of the project. Like if the project lasts 2 months, 3 weeks after are dedicated to finish the project or to, prep the case study, prep the whatever is going to be in the website. Now I'm lucky to have a very nice core team that they can be dedicated when there is,
To do that.
downtime, that there are no projects whatsoever. So they can be now they've been working on a case study for screensavers that we did for Samsung. So now we're gonna launch it and it takes time, but I think also to be able to manage your resources. If the project that you have a wealthy budget and it's going well and the feedback goes minimum, you can actually take part of that
Yes.
team to create other type of work. And I did that a lot with the rebrand. A lot of the people that work on the R&D phase were from projects that they were like looking good, coming in, just help us here, and it's, yeah, I think that, yeah, do it that way for now works quite well.
But
Yeah,
that's good. It's pretty much you reinvesting on the company. I think is really
totally.
important, not as a company only, but as a freelance. I think people sometimes forget about that, just going project to project and forget to reinvest a little bit back into the company or back into yourself, to keep developing. Because if it's easy just to get stuck.
Yeah.
Totally. It's very, very important.
Well, it's always like your own kind of like more personal projects that bring in the new, more interesting work anyway, because the clients only
Mhm.
kind of commission what they see.
And
Totally.
we can see that, like, I'm just looking your work now you can see the connection, and I'm not I'm not dragging about client here, but client normally tends to go to what they see, it's tend
Mhm.
to trust people and let they develop. Is only like few studios. I think then really comes with a new things they never did. Then the client said, "Wow, we trust you. You can do that." Normally they see, "Oh, we like that. We wanted you to do something like this. What can you come in different?" So you can see the development on your work. Is going to the direction you have. So I think in the end of the day makes this studio a lot stronger as well. But it's what you said. Is going to same always. No.
Well, I agree that clients tend to come to you because they saw something that speaks directly to what they are looking for. And that's why precisely you have to keep, your
Right.
work a little bit dynamic and to try different things, even consider do things pro bono, even, like things that hey, I want to do, I don't know, whatever, a luxury commercial. So get a brand that, for free you can do whatever, and put it out there in your portfolio. So I think, case studies are kind of like an opportunity to do that. And I tried also to include some shots of things that I think that gonna call other type of clients and projects. But yeah, it's, at the beginning I was like, oh, I want to, to do a car commercial. And the people, I work a lot with Hornet at the United States, and they were like, Clem, if you don't have a car in your portfolio, don't even
They're
think
not
of
gonna
doing a car. Yeah.
But talk about car, and you don't have a car on your portfolio. Did you guys see the Jaguar rebrand?
Yeah.
I saw few things on Instagram
So
that people are
Jaguar
like
suddenly
very,
delete the whole history of Jaguar and came with a new Instagram, new
I think they
LinkedIn.
killed the animal, right? Like they killed the
It's no
jaguar.
cars.
The kind of the front of the animal, yeah, they did, which is a
Uh,
shame because their new logo is just a J and a R. But I have to say, they're launching their car on, I think it's Tuesday, a first look.
Yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
gonna wait until it's in context, I would say.
mm,
I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a bit apprehensious. I mean,
Yeah,
we've got quite a few connections with Jaguar, in that our previous car was a Jaguar, and also our wedding was in next to the
yeah,
Jaguar headquarters in
yeah.
Gaydon. Yeah, Jaguar Land Rover
okay.
and Aston Martin at the Great British Motor Museum.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I cannot speak about it. I didn't really see that whole rebrand. So
yeah, it's nothing. They really delete the
They're
whole
getting slated for
Instagram.
it.
So they delete
But
and they is copy nothing, the new slogan. But a lot of people is going really kind of
mm,
criticizing a lot because basically it's no card. The commercial they did is only like this really kind of a fashion, like
mhm.
woman walking there. But I think I need to take the hats off. If it's gonna work on the long term or not is a
I
different
think it's
story.
too early. I
But
think it's just
it's
too early.
the whole marketing industry. Everyone is talking about them without them investing any money. So the
Mm.
buzz is there. If they have a marketing plan to support that, I think they're gonna do well. But let's see.
Yeah.
Their
But
biggest
all the
problem is
cars
that
companies are changing logos. I don't know
Change.
what's
They've been
going
losing
on.
money in
yeah.
the last, I think, quite few years. They're losing money
Oh,
every year.
since they were
But
bought by Tata,
yeah,
so a long
so it's
time.
your
But
opportunity, Clay, to do a Jaguar, a car
Maybe.
commercial without a car.
Maybe Dua Lipa will be in it.
That's true. That's true. Be nice to see what is coming. So tell, where do you see yourself in 3 years? Is your not talking about goal, but we see you do a lot of commercial. Is that's where your heart is, where you want to carry on following, more commercial, or you see yourself going to different types of media, going to series or like even longer format? Is a desire in there, or your passion is the commercial, the short format?
I don't know. I think long formats, I don't think so, not yet. Um, I would say keep on the commercial side. I enjoy that. I like it. And we don't have that many, that many products or like proper TV ads on, you know, on our portfolio, and I would like that. But as I mentioned before, I have like some self-initiated project ideas that I want to develop. Maybe, I don't know, like a physical product that I have for a long time
Oh,
in
that's
mind
cool.
will be you know, the moment to do. You know, you never know. But yeah, I mean, I'm in a place that I think that we are good, and you know, we've been like now being five. It's hasn't been long that we are five. I think now it's a moment to like enjoy how we are, you know, let it sit. And once it sit, then the next thing, right? Also like, you know, that everyone is talking about probably like already 2 years, AI, you know, to get our hands on this. I think it's I think a must have or a must do for the studio. So that probably it's gonna be part of our, you know, future projects that we're gonna develop. But
How
yeah.
do you feel about AI? If you touch the subject now, is it, you know, yeah, because a lot of people is really concerned about, you know, how fast it's developing and things like that. Is it something you guys want to embrace and try, you know, or it just like freaking you guys out, you know, because it's quite a mixed feeling from the industry at the moment. A lot of people is embracing them, some people is fighting against the thing. In the end of the day, that's not gonna go anywhere. Or you
Mhm.
accept, embrace, and develop with that, use as a tool or whatever you want. Or you know, or maybe it's gonna be too late in the future, you know. But
I
where you see you
mean,
guys.
I think that if we talk about, you know, society and worldwide and AI, I think it's gonna like not maybe destroy everything, but it's like it's gonna make things very challenging for a lot of people. And that's scary. But you know, it's gonna help on a lot of things, but it's gonna change the entire economy, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll see. But in our industry, I think you just have to embrace it because we've seen already like few studios that they are already in it and they are killing it. They are doing very nice work. So AI doesn't mean that you have to lose your style. You have to do like
Yeah.
a mid-journey style kind of project. You know, it's, I think you have to learn it in a way that, um, I don't know, takes your style in another level, or, you know, and I think we have to use it. We have to learn it and
Yeah.
we have to, you know, confront it and face it and, you know,
And
work with it.
also has a lot like tools then, you know, just not generate stuff, you know, but like a lot to upscale and everything, you know. I always
Hmm.
talk about Topaz, you know, is something we use quite a lot.
Sponsored by Topaz.
Yeah, we are gonna message you then, you know, because I just use that so much and I love, you know, especially when clients forget to tell you you need a full K project, you know, and you deliver in HD. But I think it is, I think you're right, you know, liking or not, scare or not, you know, we need embrace. They're gonna keep developing, you know, and if you're fighting against, maybe it's too late when you decide to join the team, and then maybe, you know, you just
It's hard
I
because
don't.
I think it gives the impression that, you know, it's updating all the time. It's like it's not that the train passes or not. It's just like it's in constant movement, and you just have
Mm.
to. It's a long, long train, but nobody knows when it's gonna cut, and so I think you have to jump in it.
yeah.
But it's hard to know. Okay, how many AI softwares there are? What is it? I started analyzing. I just have a mirror board analyzing all the possibilities with a description of what it is for, you know, the prices, you know, I'm kind of
Yeah.
like overseeing the whole picture, but for now, I'm just like sneaking here, sneaking there. And it's hard because, you know, I have a friend, Edu, that is like so into it and it's saying like, oh, you learn something that after 1 week, you just you have to learn another thing because it's whatever you
It's
learn is just like not working anymore. You know, it's completely different. It's a game changer, constant type of, you know, monster. But at some point, I think you just like, okay, wow, let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's, you know,
It did feel
and this
like a
needs to
couple of years
happen.
ago, it felt like AI was, I mean, specific to the creative industry. I can't talk outside of the creative industry, but it felt like, oh look, this big apocalypse is on the horizon. It's going to take all our jobs. And then now it's 2 years later, and it's like, well, no, it's fine. And I think a lot of people are starting to embrace it and incorporate it into their in whatever their creative solution is or creative pipeline. And I think that's the way it should be because, you know, if you're a creative, you'll use it in a different way to how it's either meant to be used or what have you. So I think it's definitely something that's going to stick around anyway. So why not?
Totally. I think, you know,
yeah,
when you are using to scale up things, that's like a, you know, a technical
yeah,
Yeah.
thing that it's like, well, cool, you know, now you just press a button and you have a 4K. That's
yeah,
great. You know, and instead of using Redshifts or whatever you are using and rendering and having a powerful machine, you just like can pay 20 euros a month and you can have
Let's do
access
it.
to
Yeah,
it. You know, it's just like another product. But to incorporate that in the creative
yeah, it's
process, I think that it's what it's like beautiful even, you know.
Mm.
But it's true that, you know, like concept artists or, you know, illustrators and it's like, well, it's hard to have a good opinion about
it is, it
AI.
is,
Absolutely.
it is, it
And
is.
also I think that it has been a little bit of a product or a result of I wouldn't call it evil, but like, I don't know, people putting everyone on Instagram, everyone on social media. I think that was for a reason, probably, that everyone was like feeling the monster without actually knowing. And that's the part that is like a bit dodgy, and
Yeah,
bad.
It's got a
And
bit
I
of
don't
a
know.
correlation between like this, like the kind of seedier side of like crypto, I think. You know, when you have like someone who labels himself as a AI artist, it just makes me cringe a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's a tool that you can, you know, you can be very good at. And I tried few things and it's not as easy, you know, you have to be a very good writer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but you know, I start all my projects writing, right? And you start writing your ideas and writing down and this and that. And you realize the importance of wording and, you know, adjectives and synonyms and, you know, the language. And that I think in the AI, I think it's kind of more, you know, in that aspect that you have
Mm.
to know what you want and using the right words and changing only that word and the other one and see what happens. You know, I think it's all about how you think and how you control that AI to do whatever you want it to be doing for you,
yeah,
not the other
yeah,
way around, you know.
yeah. It's true. It's true.
Well,
It's good. Cool, guys. We getting. I know it's late for you there. We're getting just over 1 hour show. So let's ask you like a couple last questions, and we can wrap and let you go as well. You know, it's what it is. It's over
cool.
10 o'clock for you.
Okay.
Uh, do you have any question, James? You want to fire or?
Uh, okay. I guess it's relating to your like if you were to start a studio again or what have you, is there anything you wish you would have known that you could have told yourself like, you know, 5 or 6 years ago that would have helped?
And
Oh
it's a
gosh,
good thing
such a
for anyone
question.
out there wanna start his studio as well. You know, what is the kind of tips you know?
Mm, I would say don't be afraid to hire the first person, as you said before, James. I think that is like, yeah, just do it. Like if you have, you know, the money or the stability that you can just go for it. You can always go back, you know. It's
Yeah, you can
fine.
always fire them.
Yeah, in a way.
Just change the lock on the
Um,
door if you want to avoid confrontation.
but I think that's that, and then I don't know. I think what I found probably more difficult of the situation that I am is that I'm on my own, right? In a way, like I don't have a business partner or another, another person that can, help you build whatever you want to build. And probably that's a good person to have, like to be
Yeah.
two people or three. I think it's easier for everyone.
But
Um,
also, I think just to just interrupt you, but to add on this is it's always good to have a second person, a partner, but like when you're opposite as well,
Yeah, production.
I think has like someone that can really deal with the production of or the studio management, especially
totally.
if you are a creative person. It's like what we were saying in the beginning. It's really hard when you realize you need to deal with management of the studio. It's so much bureaucracy behind that, and you end up not having as much. So I always felt have like a business partner makes the difference as well, but like someone that complement you. I think if
Yeah.
you're on the production side or
Hey,
as a
you look good.
creative.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. And also someone to bounce, because sometimes
Mm,
I think we go a little bit, let's say a little
Yeah.
bit crazy, someone to pull you down and say, listen, man, now we can't do that. And I think it's
Yeah.
always good. It's always
But
good.
it's very hard to find this
It
person
is.
more maybe like business oriented or sales oriented. I think it's difficult. I had few like bad experiences on that matter, but at the very beginning, I think it was a very good thing that I have very good reps, people that represents the studio, and I started, the career like this. So they kind of like at the beginning they take you,
mm.
out part of all this, going out there and sell your studio and meet people and do the sales work. So that's a kind of like a good solution at the start, I would say,
Hmm.
the representatives. But yeah, totally. Like finding a very good person that you can trust, it's difficult. But it would be something very nice to have, I would say.
Cool.
Um,
And I think just to finish and a compliment, if someone want to hire, work with you, what when you're looking to hire someone, and why are you specific looking, like on the show reel and the quality, the art directing, just some tips for people want to work with you or like even just get into the industry as well.
Mhm. I would say obviously the website or the portfolio is very, very important. It's where anyone needs to shine in there.
Website or
Um,
Instagram?
I
Why
would
not
say
both?
both. I would
Yeah.
say that to check fast things, Instagram is so useful and I really like it. But then usually I think that the freelancers or people that they're looking for work, I think that their websites could be better.
Hmm.
Like explaining better things, like not putting just a video in there and that's
Yeah.
it. You
Mm,
find so little people that it has like a case study or explaining what they have been involved on that project or things, getting like a little bit in the in the good aspects of what they work on. I think that's very important. And then I don't know, writing nice emails, shorts, please, because
Please, people,
short, keeping short
listen
and
about
nice.
email. I think,
Hi, showreel, bye.
I
No,
think,
but and obviously, then after when they shine on the portfolio, and I see that the work is like
beautiful.
beautiful, then it's like a call that's very important. And
But
then
I really want to push the detail you said, write short email. I think not just write short email, but learn how to write email. That's the worst thing
very
because I get
hard.
so many email people sometimes even say, hey, here's my showreel, like James said. Why you
That was from
spend
me.
time looking for what's from James? But yeah, I think it's just like few things we comment on this show is like being polite, hello, good morning, and who you are, and what you do and why you want to work with the studio. I think is you can do that in 4 lines, and 5 lines, and but be a bit more human than I'm sending the same email for 20 studios, and you don't even put the
specific
Who
time.
may
to the
make
person.
concern.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh
the worst
no.
ones.
Like, oh gosh. But yeah, I would say, like keep it keep it, short, but yeah, human, warm, even creative,
Yeah,
it's the first enter that
yeah, I
you
agree.
know, like
It's the
knock
door.
on the
It's the
door.
door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
It
don't
need
forget
hits
to
you in
to
the
attach a
create
right
the
GIF.
way.
curiosity.
Needs a GIF.
A gift.
It's a
Yeah,
gift.
you need a gift. Need a gift.
Yeah. Mm.
Now that's brilliant, man. I think it's a good way to finish here. So, man, first, thanks so much to be part of the show.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure. It's
Huge
been a
thanks.
pleasure to have you after so many years, and see how you've
Yeah.
been progressing. And looking forward to catch up when in
Thank
Barcelona.
you,
And if you
guys.
come to London, let us know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I will. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Thank
Very
you.
Thank
nice.
you. And just
Oh,
before we finish, guys, just for who is in London, we will have next Tuesday, we have the Sino Evo live on
Yeah.
the 93 Feet East. We have who we have, James?
We've
Fresh
got
my brain. We have
Electric Theatre and
Electric Studio
Form
and
Play.
Form Play. Yeah, so we have two. It's our
Or From
Christmas
Play,
show, so
sorry.
it's double.
Oh,
And it's gonna be quite nice. So who is around in London come next Tuesday? You can see on the Instagram. And I need to say, you guys need to subscribe to our YouTube, and follow
smash
us.
that like.
Yeah, press
click that
here, whatever
button.
it is, that button. But Clean, thank you so much, man. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Huge
guys.
thanks.
Good
You
evening,
too,
everyone.
guys.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Bye
Take
bye.
care.
And cool. So the live stream is off. We can talk bad
I want to
things.
know about Twitter.